Hello and welcome to yourlocalnote.com, and we've got another vidcast. We appreciate you joining us. Yeah, running a little bit late, but we're here and we're ready to go. Really excited to talk to Ted from Ego Alien. Lots of great stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the band. We're going to talk about their music, and he's got some other stuff that he's working on. This guy is just really into music, and it's going to be a real treat talking to him tonight. Okay, right now we're going to kick off the vidcast with a song from Ego Alien's debut album, self-entitled Ego Alien. The song is called Lines on yourlocalnote.com.
Sometimes you bring too many words. Sometimes those words are so absurd. We tell each other lines. Those lies are a disguise. Sometimes the world is so obscured. Sometimes you may find another better line in your time before you die. Sometimes you refine the little things in life to your surprise, your delight. Something to improve. You can't go and plan out every move. You direct what you can, ride the wave of lies. Sometimes you blaze right through the blur. Sometimes you may find another better line in your time. Sometimes you refine the little things in life to your surprise, your delight. Sometimes the world seems too damn big, feeling small in everything that you did. Through the gold and through the rust, lighten up, have some trust. And I know we're good enough to run the race, stand up tall. Run the race, stand up tall and strong.
The song is called Lines, and that's from the self-titled album from Ego Alien. And we're so happy to have Ted from Ego Alien joining us. Ted, welcome to yourlocalnote.com.
Thanks a whole bunch, RJ.
Let's talk about Lines first, and then we'll come back after that, and then we'll talk about the band, and we'll go from there. So, Lines, you wrote the song.
Yes.
What is this about?
Sometimes I write songs and I don't know what they're about until they sort of speak to me and tell me what they're about, because the lyrics are not always the first thing that I start with. But this turned out to be kind of a song about the choices we make and how those choices, and sometimes not choices, change your life and change the direction of where you're going. And I, grew up as a skateboarding kid, and so thinking about kind of like lines on a ramp, take you different places. If you go this place on the ramp, you're going to be able to do these tricks. You might not plan on something, and you pull off something you haven't tried before. Same thing. You go through life, you make decisions, or you make decisions you weren't planning on, and they change the direction of your life. And I think that's what it turned out to be.
Very cool. Okay, that sounds good. Now, you touched on something, and I wanted to go a little bit more into that. So writing lyrics is not usually the first thing you do when it comes to a song. Usually you get the music first and then try to put lyrics together.
Most of the time,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so when you're writing your lyrics, is it a process where it just comes to you, or do you sit down and say, you know what, I've got a whole bunch of music, I need to put something together? How does that process
There's a
work?
couple different ways. So sometimes I will be sitting on the train, coming to work, and I'll jot down some words or phrases. I've had the good fortune to work with some very interesting people in the psychiatric world, and so I would sit in meetings, I'd write down little phrases. So sometimes when I need some content for lyrics, I'll look at those notes, and then I'll pick something I like and put it in, and then just sort of roll with that.
Are your songs observational, like on life?
A lot of times they are.
Okay, doesn't necessarily mean you've experienced it personally, but you've seen it and then try to put it together.
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I used to write songs that had content from psychiatric hospital patients.
Okay.
The Theophilus James song, my former band.
Right.
A lot of those songs, some of the content came from some very interesting individuals that I happened to meet at the hospital. And one of them, a gentleman came up to me, a very large African-American gentleman came up to me and he said, I'm a marshmallow in disguise. And this was one of his delusions.
Right.
And I
like that.
Responded like, hey, sure, that sounds great. Here's a tambourine. Let's jam. Let's play some music. Because I'm working as a music therapist in the psych hospital. Okay. So that's where some of my content came from.
Got it.
I wrote that down, put it in a song.
Nice.
And those kind of phrases.
Okay. Now, you do all the songwriting.
Yes.
When you're writing your music, and just like most writers, I mean, you run into a block sometimes. Do you have people that sometimes you go to and say, hey, I'm working on this. I like, this is what I like. What do you think? Or are you just a person who just does it all by yourself?
Yeah, I do a lot of it by myself, but I definitely run it by folks, especially band members. When I have a full band, we're doing the live version of that song, and I like to get input and try to change it a little bit. I did co-write the first song off of "Crawl on the Edge," which is the Ego Alien CD. "Fade to Black and Sky" was actually co-written with a friend of mine who happens to be a death metal psychologist.
Okay, a death metal psychologist. Complete this story, and I want to get back to that. That's great. That's great.
In one of my worlds, I used to work for a behavioral health insurance company, and I met this gentleman named William Rizzo, who is a really good guitar player. He's a death metal guitar player, and he and I co-wrote a song together. In this world that we worked in, he's a psychologist. He's a doctor of psychology.
Okay.
So I call him the death metal psychologist.
Okay.
William Rizzo.
There we go.
He's also a fantastic photographer who did the photography on the first Ego Alien CD, The Crawl on the Edge.
I like Ted just he makes sure he gives credit to all these people.
There's more coming.
There's more okay. All right. So you now had 2 albums out, and you've got a new single out, which we're going to be playing later tonight.
Correct.
Is this new single going to be part of another album that you're working on?
Yeah, I'm in the process of recording a new record, and hopefully it'll be a full length, but it'll probably be an EP. And I have 2 songs that are just about finished, and 5 or 6 other ones that I've written that have been playing out recently, and we'll massage those into listen-to-able tracks in the near future.
Okay, very good. We're going to go to our second song now. It's called Green Means Go, and it's also off of Ego Alien, the self-titled debut album. But I also want to touch on the fact that you have your own record label.
Yes, sir.
And I want to talk about that when we come back.
Sounds good.
All right. So the song is called Green Means Go off the self-titled album. And this is Ego Alien. And we're hanging out with Ted on yourlocalnote.com. And that is Green Means Go from Ego Alien and their LP, self-entitled LP, Ego Alien. We're hanging out with Ted of Ego Alien. Before we go to this song, Ego Alien, where did you get that name from? Is this something that, you part of you, or how does this work?
I get a lot from my work.
Okay.
And I get songs from my work.
Okay.
I get song content from my work. One of the songs named Little Miss Panic Button off of the Ego Alien CD was specifically written about a person I worked with that was always panicky and always would just go right to like kind of freak out mode.
Right.
Little Miss Panic Button. always on about something. But Ego Alien is a synonym for ego dystonic, and that's a psychological term which means something that is sort of doesn't sit well with your ego or sit well with you. So an example is like, if I was going to kill somebody, I'd really feel bad about that. That's like ego dystonic or ego alien. It's alien to my ego to do that. So this particular job I was in,
I'm glad that you
yes,
is. We're in close quarters here.
Yeah.
We didn't check him for a gun, did we? No, I'm kidding.
I think I'm telling the truth. And so this particular job I was in was a little ego alien to me. So I said, "Here's my name."
Did you've always been in music?
Yep.
Because I'm getting the feeling, and tell me if you're wrong, but it seems like your music became sort of therapy for you from your day job.
Most definitely. I play music, write music, hang out with my wife and daughter, and have other good things to do to deal with stress and to cope with stress. I'm a music therapist as well. I have a master's degree in music therapy, and I'm licensed as a professional counselor. Currently, I'm not working as a music therapist, but I used to run around the hospital, literally with a big old cart filled with drums and my electric guitar and PA and drum machines, and rock out with folks in the psych hospital. And so we were talking off air about sort of how people make a living and how people are working musicians.
Right.
I made it. So make the concept of making it. I'm going to quit my day job and become rich and famous is a little different these days.
You make your living as a musician.
So I used to make my living solely as a music therapist, and then that got me into some supervisory roles, and now I do management. But my lovely wife, YLN Bunch, is a full-time working musician, and the way she does her work is she's a music therapist as well, and so she does music therapy individually and with groups with folks with disabilities. She also teaches piano in folks' homes. She goes to people's homes in Philly and in New Jersey, and she also plays in an orchestra that's playing in New York City this Friday for Halloween, or is it Saturday? Saturday for Halloween, called Tilted Axis. She goes around the country and plays in these guitar orchestras. She also plays with Robert Fripp's League of Crafty Guitarists.
Okay.
So my wife YLN, who I love very, very much, has a wonderful full-time working musician job, which pieces together a lot of different elements, and that's one way we can be working musicians.
That's very interesting, and see how because Mike's getting married soon, so you watch how Ted threw that in. It's very important to throw those compliments in as you go through, because it keeps you out of hot water. Okay, so all right, Ted. So she's a musician, but she doesn't really do what you do. You both have sort of basically different genres as far as music is concerned. But does she ever give you an opinion on some of your music? Does she say or try to give you any tips or anything, or say, hey, you know what, I think if you did this, it would sound better?
Sometimes she does.
Okay. And how does that go?
Oh, it's fine. I like input.
Okay.
In fact, I like people telling me what they think of my music, and I appreciate input from my wife.
Okay. And your daughter, is she musically inclined?
My daughter
too?
rocks. She's like just about to be 18, and she plays a wicked piano.
Wow.
She bought her a Jag Stang about 6 years ago when she was tiny, and so she rocks on the guitar and the piano and is very creative artistically. In fact, the first 2 Theophilus James records were her artwork. And
do you have it?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
I was
okay.
looking for it.
That's no problem.
A very artistic, wonderful daughter named Evelyn.
They can find it then, but they can find it on the web, right?
Yes.
On your Facebook page?
Yeah, thirstyrecords.com is the record label. So thirstyrecords.com is where you can find Ego Alien, as well as my former band Theophilus James, and a host of other Thirsty Records artists.
Excellent. So people can send you, do you constantly get demos from bands, and as you try to recruit more people for your label, or is it something where you have to be careful because you're a one-man band?
Yeah, the record label I have is with my longtime friend and partner, Jack Spratt.
Okay.
So Jack and I grew up in Texas, played baseball together in 7th grade, and we grew up, in the punk rock era, buying records, seeing shows, making music, and we created Thirsty Records for ourselves, to have a platform for our music and for music we want to record and produce.
Okay.
So we fully fund it. My partner Jack Spratt and I, we work with who we want, and a lot of our label is our projects and our close friends and close colleagues' projects. Okay, so you will recruit the people you want to work with on your label. Okay, got that. So with that. And there's the two of you with the label. So are you more the musician
and the producer, and Jack is more of the businessman, or how does that work, or is it a combination of both?
Yeah, well, we both have full studios. My studio's in Collingswood, New Jersey, right on the other side of the Ben Franklin Bridge from Philly, and I have a full recording and rehearsal studio, Thirsty Records South, and then Thirsty Records, the prime location is in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
So Jack has a studio in Brooklyn, and he does full production there, and I do full production in South Jersey as well. Sometimes we collaborate, but we can both do the full production from drums to mixing, and then we send it out to a mastering partner of ours.
How difficult is it for you to be because when it comes to Ego Alien, you're the person who's writing the songs, you're producing it, you record almost all of the instruments. How difficult is it for you to do that and go from that, where you're so immersed, to then just work with another band that you're not as immersed in, or are you always involved?
Yeah, no, I think my stuff, my music and my recording sometimes takes a back seat. If I'm working for with or for somebody else, I'm fully invested then and there, and just sort of try to complete that task, and then I do my stuff on my downtime. I sometimes think of Monday night as my day off, even though I'm working during the day, because Monday night I don't usually do stuff, but I do recording on Tuesday, Wednesday, and my radio show on Thursday, and then I go out on the weekends. Not always, though.
Okay. All right. Very good. We're going to go to song number 3, and then we'll come back. I've got a ton of more questions to ask you, because you do so many different things, and I'm finding myself going, well, I should have asked him about that before, and then I got to ask him about that. My head is ready to explode, Ted. All right, let's go to song number 3. It's called Fade to Blackened Sky, and it's from Ego Alien's album Crawl on the Edge.
Yes, sir.
That's the way it's, okay. Crawl on the Edge.
On the Edge.
Okay, and this is yourlocalnote.com. That's Fade to Black and Sky from Ego Alien from the album Crawl on the Edge. I felt that there was like a little throwback with that song. There were some elements of some classic rock in there, some from the 70s. Is that done on purpose, or is it just the way it came out?
Yeah, no, those different flavors are just in me. So I don't sit down and say, "Oh, I'm going to write this band song, their Nirvana song, or the
right.
It just comes out. The different flavors. Classic rock. Grew up in the punk rock era, so the early LA hardcore, Texas hardcore, and also a lot of funk and blues. But in one of the songs that we're not playing today, "Love Yourself," it's actually got like a funk groove to it. So
okay.
Funk, classic rock, punk rock.
Whatever strikes you.
Anything in between.
Okay, very cool. Fade to Black and Sky, what is this about?
It's kind of about taking the opportunity, taking a chance, being okay to fall off the edge, get up tomorrow and start over. So it's about taking risks and being okay with that. And if you don't take risks, you don't benefit. Yeah, you're going to fall down, but
exactly.
You can get back up.
You learn from failing. So
I've learned a lot.
You mentioned before you grew up in Texas.
Yes.
What brought you to Philadelphia?
My band in the late 80s moved to New York City.
Okay.
To make it.
Right.
But that doesn't happen.
Okay.
It teaches you a thing or two, whips you around in shape.
The New York music city scene, from what I've gathered, is a tough one.
Yeah. So I moved to New York with my band and ended up moving to Philadelphia after a couple other stops. And, I've been here since 95.
Okay, settled here. Very nice. Did you meet your wife here?
Met my wife we were both young music therapists working for Einstein Healthcare Network. We wrote a grant to equip 2 geriatric partial hospitalization sites with a whole bunch of computerized and high-tech music equipment and recording equipment.
Okay.
We got $16,000 to spend on music therapy, and we had a kid, and then we got married.
Very nice. Okay.
In them's orders.
So it was okay. The therapy. All right, I'm not going to get into it. That's very good, and it's good that you're here.
Thank you.
Now you were looking for a drummer, because I was going to ask about if you're going to be playing live soon, but you're looking for a drummer. So
So Ego Alien is a 3-piece. My partner Chris Kuzmanik is the bass player extraordinaire. So we've been looking for a drummer for a hot minute, and are still looking for a really good rock and roll drummer in the format of Drew Bernier. Drew Bernier from Great Socio fame was kind enough to fill in for some early Ego Alien shows this year and rocked supreme. So we need a really good rockin' drummer who can groove and is also fun and cool to be with. I've been playing a lot recently, acoustic solo Ego Alien at various open mics.
Anything coming up soon?
Yeah, I'm going to be featured at the Craft House. Rob Sankey is a wonderful booking agent over in South Jersey, and he was doing Shady Katie's Tuesday night. And that open mic night was as good as any Friday night at any club.
Good.
So that's moved over to the Craft House. So I'm going to be featured as an Ego Alien solo artist coming soon. We're setting up a date. I'm also looking to be featured at the open mic at Harper's Pub, which is also over in New Jersey, and that's another really good open mic that recently has been run by Steven from Bong Hits.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Didn't Drew play with Bong Hits?
Drew has played with every quality musician here in town.
Is that who Eric came in with?
No. Eric came in with no. We haven't had Bong Hits for Jesus. But we had members of Bong Hits for Jesus on.
Because you had Dr. Beard Fusay and
That's
the Spitchenin.
Right, yes.
So
Dr. Beard Fusay. That was such a tough interview for me, because I was just spitting words out all over the place. It was horrible.
They're very energetic.
They are great.
They're wonderful folks.
Yeah, they really are. They were a lot of fun, and they really were entertained by my struggles with trying to pronounce it right. And I must have said it 4 or 5 different ways, and they were entertained every time.
That's great.
No, they're good people. Absolutely.
Totally.
So I did want to ask you this, because you run a label, What is your thoughts on what's going on with CDs and the fact that they're not selling? And my question to you is, since CDs aren't selling, do you think it's cost effective and smarter business-wise to just release singles, or are you still believe in albums, full-length albums?
I think singles are definitely a good way to get music out quick. I read an article with Weird Al Yankovic who said, I don't know if I'm going to make albums anymore. I do, by the time he makes a 15-song record, some of those, and puts it out, some of those songs are going to be obsolete, and he's all about topical stuff.
Yeah.
So the single is very important. I find an EP or an album also to be a very good marketing tool. You can buy it, despite folks getting, music free, especially with Apple Music, you can get anything. But it's still a good promotional tool. It's great to be able to hand it to people. It's great to be able to say, here is the new Ego Alien CD.
Nice. Like that.
And 2 stickers that is going to start the onslaught of the gifts from Thirsty Records. So first what I have is Ego Alien's most recent CD called Ego Alien.
Right.
And then 2 stickers.
Nice.
I also have for you a Ego Alien T-shirt.
Like that. The purple and the black looks good.
Purple and the black.
Yes, looks really good. There we go. Taking directions. Ted is just, musician, runs a label. Look at him marketing like this. This is fantastic.
I have...
and a radio show, too. The man just does it all.
And that's only part of it. I have the last Theopolis James record from 2012. This is my band before Ego Alien. These are all Thirsty Records artists. So the other Thirsty Records artists that I have for you, Wither and Johnson.
Okay.
And the horse you rode in on. That's Wither and Johnson, Thirsty Records.
All right.
We also have Lowball Jack. This is my partner Jack Spratt's band, Lowball Jack. And then also Party Apes. Party Apes, Erase Your Tapes.
Okay.
This is the Party Apes.
Nice.
So these are all compliments of Thirsty Records for you guys.
Excellent.
And again, promotional good stuff. If I sell them, that's great. If I don't sell them, I'm going to give them to you and ask you what you think.
Okay, excellent. Do you find that you have to also be careful with your merchandise because that's another source of revenue or possible source of revenue?
It is. I think it's always a challenge to who to give it to, who to sell it to.
Right.
With shirts and stuff, it's really important to give it to folks, but it's also important to try to sell as many as possible because that's where you make some of the money.
You know what we found, and this is a very small sample, but we found that giving stuff to people that they could put in their pocket, like a keychain or a koozie for the beer, that they matchboxes that they can put in their pocket or their purse or wallet or whatever. That seemed to go over better than T-shirts.
Yes,
because it just seemed like, I don't want to carry this around.
Somebody gave me a bottle opener thumb drive.
Nice.
The other day, and this was a year ago at Shady Katie's, this is a band called Midnight Bottle Club. And they gave me this, and I didn't listen to it right away, but I needed a thumb drive the other day.
Right.
And so I went and I used that, but also listened to the music.
Yeah. There was another band who had their album.
Silent Signals.
Yeah, they gave their album out on a thumb drive, and it was you had a lot more space to it. So that's the cool thing. I love listening to people and how they try to market themselves and what they do, the different things like that. And totally fascinated by everything you do. I mean, it's just a great story, and we really appreciate you coming in because we got to wrap up here, Ted, unfortunately, but it's been fantastic talking to you. Is there anything that I might have missed that you want to promote or talk about?
I don't think so. We talked about
radio show. We didn't talk about your radio show.
We talked about Ego Alien. We talked about Thirsty Records.
Right.
So Thirsty Records on Gas House Radio is my weekly radio show on Gas House. So Thirsty Records on Gas House Radio is designed to highlight local original artists. It also has a segment where I record 2 exclusive recordings of 2 songs from a band, full recording in my studio in Collingswood, and I record an interview and then I mix that all up so it sounds good, and then we broadcast it. So Thursdays from 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time on Gas House Radio is Thirsty Records on Gas House Radio, which totally supports local and original music.
Fantastic. That is great. And we think the world of Dustin. He does a great job, and we've have had several conversations with him, and I just like what he does over there. So it's good stuff.
He's a good guy.
And yes, absolutely. And Ted, again, thank you so much. And we're going to wrap things up with your new single, and it's called "Hit Me on Time." And it's not part of an album, correct?
It's a brand new single that will be released sometime soon, either as a single or as part of an EP.
And Hit Me on Time, what is this about?
Be consistent. Just do what you say you're going to do. Do it when you say you're going to do it. Be a kid when you're supposed to be. Be an adult when you're supposed to be. And hit me right on time. Thank you so much for having me tonight on your local note.
That's a great wrap up. Thank you so much, Ted. Appreciate it. We've got our next vidcast coming up in 2 weeks.
All right.
I believe it's on the 10th. I'll get all the info, and we'll get that out on our website, on our Facebook page, Twitter, and all that other good stuff. So check that out. Again, we've been hanging out with Ted from Ego Alien. We're going to wrap things up with this single, "Hit Me on Time," and this is yourlocalnote.com.